welcome to Breaking Ground, Making Waves. At Planetary Technologies, we are driven by the belief that innovative solutions and collaborative efforts can create a brighter future for our planet. Breaking Ground, Making Waves is our platform to amplify the voices of visionary leaders who are driving impactful changes in their communities. The series celebrates innovation, resilience, and the incredible work being done to foster sustainable and inclusive progress. And today, I'm thrilled to introduce our inaugural guest, Crystal Nicholas from Nova Scotia, Canada. Crystal is a trailblazer in economic development and a passionate advocate for Indigenous communities. She serves as the president and interim general manager of WMA, where she oversees executive functions and strategic initiatives, working closely with 13 chiefs of the Mi'kmaq First Nations to promote sustainable economic growth. Crystal's impressive career includes advancing development in Sipekne'katik First Nation, where she served in pivotal roles as CFO and later CEO. Her educational achievements include a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Cape Breton University, currently pursuing her degree in law, JD, at Dalhousie University. Crystal brings unmatched expertise in financial management, project leadership, and strategic planning to her work. A proud member of the Sipekne'katik First Nation, Crystal embodies the spirit of leadership and community-driven progress that we aim to highlight through this series. So, Crystal, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Oh, thank you, Diana. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Great. So shall we begin? And I'm, so in awe of your career path, incredible work that you've done so far, from your leadership in Sipekne'katik First Nation to your current role at WMA. So my first question is, how do you pronounce WMA? I didn't want to be disrespectful.
It's not an easy word to say. So it's Wiskujinok Umtamodanuo Agency.
Wow. Okay. And we'll make sure that it's available for everyone to understand and learn, including myself. And also, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey and the experiences that shaped your leadership style?
Yeah, so really starting off just a junior finance officer and working my way up, being able to work and go to school at the same time. Leading me to where I am today was quite a journey. I worked for Sipekne'katik First Nation for a total of 17 years, and being able to move the community forward in various different initiatives, open the door for me when it comes to law. So being able to negotiate collective agreements for the unions that were within our community. I seen a need for Indigenous representation on the union side of the table. I decided to leave Sipekne'katik and join the WMA as I was working through my JD.
Okay. So why economic development? And I would love to know both, your experience in, as you said, and that's what led you to your journey in law, the collective agreement that you were negotiating, but at the same time, what drew you towards economic development?
My inspiration, my strength really for economic development and strategic management comes from our ancestors. I strive to weave our culture into a fabric of economic development, creating a thriving future for the Mi'kmaq people that honors our past and embraces new possibilities. So being able to be a part of that has been amazing.
So, Crystal, but if I may ask, if not just political leadership, if us, whether it's private sector or anybody else, what is the kind of, or maybe one or two policies that you think we should advocate for towards inclusivity and especially towards ensuring reconciliation for Indigenous communities?
Really, it's implementing the truth and reconciliation. I think a policy needs to be put in place.
Yeah, agree. I understand. And just so others understand, because I'm sure we have listeners from practically every part of the world. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission was set up in Canada. They did provide, I believe, about 70 recommendations for implementation. In so far, correct me if I'm wrong, Crystal, 30 of them are implemented, right? Or is it
around there? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we as people have a long way to go.
Yes,
Um,
lots of work to get done.
can you tell us a little bit about the mission of WMA and how is it making a difference in the Mi'kmaq communities? And also, Crystal, and I remember this is for everybody else. When I met Crystal, she told me about the communities, the 13, and etc. So if you can talk about that as well, it'd be great, for everybody else to also understand.
So, well, the vision, I guess, of the WMA. So, the chiefs have created us with the vision of empowering the Mi'kmaq of Nova Scotia and aligning business opportunities with the Mi'kmaq Nation's interests and values. So, the organization's key purposes are twofold. Business development. So, we are committed to identifying and engaging in diverse business ventures that contribute to the prosperity of the Mi'kmaq Nation, and governance and infrastructure. Developing internal governance policies, processes, and supports, enhancing our ability to conduct and facilitate business for the Mi'kmaq Nation efficiently and transparently. Um, Leading transformative projects that are not only support the nation's economic growth, but also respect and preserve our cultural heritage. Our approach integrates modern technologies with traditional values, ensuring that every project contributes positively to our environment and the province as a whole. And as you had stated, the province has 13 First Nations within, from one end to the other. We're spread out fairly nicely, and there's a few larger communities and there's a few smaller communities. So the organization like the WMA being able to include communities who may not be able to participate in a nation-based project. It is what our vision is.
And just so I understand, and everybody else also, I think the uniqueness of WMA is because it's able to bring in all 13 Mi'kmaq chiefs together, which is so there are multiple organizations, I believe, in Nova Scotia representing Indigenous communities. Yours is actually very unique from that perspective, right?
Correct. So yeah, we are inclusive of all 13.
All 13 coming together. So curious as to how that happened, and and also it also shows like how important and how forward thinking communities are about economic development. But I'm curious, how did this become that unique meeting point for everyone to come together?
So a lot of opportunities are coming into the First Nation, and coming to the chiefs tables. And the chiefs are busy. They have each community to run. Trying to move our nation forward. So the board was created. So we are a board of 5. We were chosen based on our different qualities, our different backgrounds. They wanted to have an organization that was able to vet through opportunities that would benefit all 13, alongside of their economic development that they're doing within their own communities. So really to supplement a lot of what they're doing.
Okay. And if you can provide an example of an initiative you led at WMA, of course, every initiative has a meaningful impact, but something that's really close to your heart.
So the WMA is fairly new. Like I said, we were created in 2019, but really have only ramped up in the last 2 years with the projects. So working, I think, with the Canada Infrastructure Bank to finance these projects, will have a meaningful impact in the communities. So the WMA was the first organization to obtain a loan through their Indigenous Equity Initiative, opening the doors for more Indigenous-led projects. So the Canada Infrastructure Bank's IEI program, aims to bridge the gap in infrastructure investment and promoting sustainable growth and self-determination for the communities. So just being able to provide equity dollars for investment. So being able to buy in and being able to participate in larger projects. So, whether it's a small stake within a project or, Indigenous led majority ownership project.
Fascinating. So if I'm getting it correct, it essentially means that you look at projects or businesses, and either say we could actually get a part of that, we can invest into it, or ensure that this is entirely Indigenous led, or like majority of it is Indigenous led, right? And in terms of sectors, I'm wondering, what are the sectors that you focused on, and what is the plan for the future?
So there's really no sector that we haven't been able to tap into. So right now it's been about the clean energy sector. Nova Scotia is big on their push to decarbonize by 2030 to bring that down by 80%. So really the focus right now has been on that. But we do have a few joint ventures. We do some civil work. We do have a health joint venture. So really we're kind of all over the map.
Okay. And any favorites?
Right now it's the clean energy because it's been keeping me extremely busy.
Okay. That's fantastic. So that's actually a great segue for us on environment and sustainability, actually. So how do you see economic and social reconciliation playing a part in creating a sustainable future for communities?
So economic and social reconciliation plays a vital role in fostering sustainable futures for communities in several ways. So inclusivity and equity, by addressing historical injustices and ensuring that marginalized groups have a voice in decision-making processes, communities can create an equitable economic opportunity. Collaboration and partnerships. So it encourages collaboration between diverse groups, including government, business, and private organizations, providing innovative solutions that address economic challenges, while also considering social impacts, such as job creation and environmental sustainability. Capacity building. Cultural preservation is huge. Recognizing the value of cultural heritage in different communities can contribute to sustainable tourism and local economies. So not only helps preserving traditions, but creates economic opportunities that are environmentally sustainable. So
when you imagine environmental and economic future for your community in 20 years, what do you hope to see?
Sustainable practices would be one, a thriving environment where traditional ecological knowledge is integrated into sustainable land and resource management practices. Cultural revitalization. So, the resurgence of Indigenous languages, traditions, and cultural practices that are intertwined in environmental stewardship. Economic sufficiency would be another one, self-sustaining and diversified, with a focus on eco-friendly enterprises that align with traditional values. Healthy ecosystems would be great. Restored and healthy ecosystems that support well-being for both the land and the community.
Hey, how about a quick lightning round, a rapid fire round? What's your favorite place in nature?
So if anybody knows me, my favorite place in nature is the Cape Breton Highlands, Hunter's Mountain. It is the most peaceful beautiful place to me on this planet. So that is my favorite place.
Wow. Do you go hiking
We
or
go hiking, we go hunting, we go fishing. It is literally a cell phone dead zone. So when you go there, you have zero, um, yeah, zero distractions. It's great.
wow, that sounds amazing. And how about a song or an artist that energizes you for big challenges?
So when I was thinking about this question, I was like, what really energizes me for big challenges? I don't have something that energizes, but I do have a song that actually gets me up and going during the day. You have a lot on the go all the time. Not only being a full-time employee, a student, I am a mother. I have been extremely busy lately. So Rise Up by Andrea Day has been my song lately.
And how about if you could have one environmental superpower to protect the planet, what would it be and why?
So, my environmental superpower, if possible, would be the ability to heal and restore ecosystems instantaneously.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. So you touch it and it's like everything is just gone. So all your, oh wow, the
being able
carbon
to,
emissions.
yeah,
Yeah.
like being able to rejuvenate damaged lands, purify polluted waters, and revitalize biodiversity. Ensuring living beings are thriving.
So if what message or a takeaway would you have, you know, about the importance of Indigenous perspectives in shaping the health and future of our um yeah. And just to also add, right? We I think like so far, the set of people that I've met, and across the globe, people and especially youth, they're very, very interested in ensuring, a better future, right? And of course, they're also very, very curious to understand how do we also bring in Indigenous perspectives to the fold. So what would be your advice? Yeah.
So, my takeaway. We are all interconnected. The health of the earth is inseparable from our own well-being. Indigenous perspectives, you know, we're able to offer essential wisdom rooted in centuries of knowledge, um, experience, and a deep relationship with the land. So, by listening to and incorporating these perspectives, we can foster a more holistic understanding of environmental stewardship that respects the balance of nature. Embracing, the indigenous knowledge not only honors our cultural heritage, but also provides innovative solutions to the pressing challenges that we face, such as climate change, biodiversity loss. So together we can create a sustainable future that reflects our shared responsibility to care for the planet.
Yeah. So, Crystal, I'm curious. Nova Scotia as a province, versus let's say other provinces in Canada, and for others, a province means a state. Basically, that's what we're referring to. What do you see is a difference here? One thing that the government and the communities are doing really well, and the other in terms of what could they possibly do, which you don't see in other provinces.
So the inclusion, we're in Nova Scotia is getting better at including Indigenous knowledge, Mi'kmaq Indigenous knowledge, um, within a lot of its projects, and a lot of the proponents that are coming in are also respecting the Indigenous knowledge as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How about Crystal's call to action, basically? If there was one thing that you'd like our audience to do differently after hearing your story, which for everybody out there, there's so much more. Crystal and I have, sat together, spoken, and trust me, the more you speak to her, the more in awe of, the work that she does and the vision that she brings in. But I'm curious, what would, you'd like our audience to do differently for
So,
this for now and for the future? Sorry. Yeah.
So Crystal's call to action. So I would invite people to reflect on your own connection to the land and resources that it provides. Our journey towards a sustainable future requires each of us to take action, inspired by wisdom, and of course, Indigenous knowledge and practices. And you can contribute to this, by learning and respect. Educating yourself about Indigenous cultures, values, traditional ecological knowledge, understanding the historical context and the ongoing impact of colonization on our communities, respecting our perspectives as vital contributions to the global conversation about sustainability, being able to support Indigenous voices, like amplifying Indigenous voices that are in your community, and support initiatives led by Indigenous people. You can do this by attending events, sharing stories and advocating for policies that prioritize Indigenous rights and environmental stewardship. Engaging in dialogue, create spaces for meaningful conversations between Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities. Collaboration and mutual understanding it's essential for addressing these complex issues that we face together. And at the end of the day, take responsibility, understanding that we all share a responsibility to protect our planet, advocate for system change that prioritizes environmental justice, climate action, and the rights of Indigenous people.
Okay. That's a fantastic call to action.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And this has been fantastic, Crystal. And thank you once again for taking the time. And I hope to see more of the incredible work that you do. And I hope the world gets to see the kind of incredible work that you do and the knowledge that communities bring in. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Diana.